Jerome says, one big problem is the high body count of modern women. It makes them completely unattractive. They won't tell you or lie, but it's easy to find out. Internet or social media reveals everything. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Are you less physically attracted to her though because she's got a high body count? I mean, how high are we talking as well? I suppose is the other thing. I mean, yeah, if she's like, if she's been on the whatever podcast and she slept with like 500 dudes and she's covered in tattoos and all that kind of thing, then yeah, I can see that being a turn off. But I think for the most part, I mean, depends what you're looking for as well. I mean, if you're just looking for casual companionship, then to be honest, her body count does it matter that much? I mean, not really. If you're looking for something more than that, then obviously it is going to matter, or it's going to matter to a lot of guys, but it might be a little bit of a cope. Haters might say it's a cope for somebody to say, well, most women are unattractive because they've got a high body count, but it depends what you want. If you're looking to get laid and she's got a high body count, that doesn't matter that much. So are you just saying that because it's a way to excuse yourself for not getting laid, if that makes sense? You know what I'm saying? Body count is not really a conversation I ever have with anybody unless it was going to be somebody that I was going to get very serious with, which is like, I never do that anyway. But if I was going to, and then as you say, over a period of time, you're going to get to know them. You're probably going to get a pretty good idea. The women that I have been in longer term things with, to the best of my knowledge, have been women who haven't slept around a lot prior to me. But again, as I say, it depends on what you're looking for, really. I mean, if you're looking for, a serious, committed, long-term relationship, then fine. But I mean, maybe you're playing the game wrong in that case, because actually, as a single guy, as a bachelor in 2024, there are multiple options out there. And, why are you looking for that when the male strategy really is to spread your seed, right? And for variety. So I think a lot of guys kind of, I'm not singling out the commenter here, but I think a lot of guys sort of go along with a socially prescribed idea of what they should be doing because they think it's the right thing to do, or because it's a bit of a cope, because they don't think it's possible to live a lifestyle of abundance, okay? And actually it is possible to live a lifestyle of abundance. Anyway, we're getting into other areas here. KFJ9N4 says masculine traits plus a fat wallet. I think I am more and more. I didn't put it in this list actually, but I am more and more coming around to agree with the naysayers who suggest that money actually plays quite a big role in this stuff. I used to not believe it, or rather, it wasn't that I didn't believe it, that money was important. It was just that I believed that game would mitigate the need for money. And the reason I had that way of thinking was because that was something that people like Tom used to teach. A lot of the early people that I was inspired by, used to basically say, look, money is not the thing, because you want to override that, because your game is going to be so good that you don't have to be. The whole point of game in the first place was you don't have to be the multimillionaire playboy, right? Because you've got this amazing thing called game, and what that's going to do is that's going to put you above the pack. She's going to like you anyway, okay? Now, there is a modicum of truth in that, because there are also rich dudes who are not getting any action, or they're getting very, very limited action with not very attractive women. And the reason that that's happening is because they are, because of they're boring, they're kind of on the spectrum, they're super logical, they're not in touch with their emotions, all of this kind of thing, right? There's a lot of guys who are handicapping themselves even though they've got money. But on the other hand, money certainly gives you at least access to higher tier women. Okay, and when I say higher tier, what I'm talking about is young, very attractive women are drawn to money, and it's just a fact of life. Now, it's not necessarily in this hugely cutthroat gold diggery way, right? It's just, people always say, well, you don't want to attract a gold digger though, do you? And it's like, well, not every woman is this grasping, talon-nailed kind of like gold digger, like this. I mean, there are shades of grey and subtlety in that, as there is in anything else. A lot of girls actually, they're not going to ask a guy for money. They're maybe not going to ask a guy for gifts, things like that. But they like to have a nice lifestyle. They would rather be with a guy who can take them for a weekend in Italy rather than take them down to the local Greggs, for a steak slice and a cup of tea. Or I'm told the coffee in Greggs is quite good, actually, so maybe a coffee. But you know what I'm saying, right? It's like, well, two guys, all things being equal, and you've got a guy and he's like, hey, yeah, I've got I'm going to this party on a yacht on the Aegean coast at the weekend. Why didn't you come over with me? We'll fly over there. I'll get first class tickets. We'll stay in a cool hotel, blah, blah, blah. Or you've got a dude who's like, listen, I'm going to be finishing my shift at Decathlon. Why don't we go down Mackie D's and get a couple of those, or why don't we go down KFC and get a couple of Zinger burger meals, right? I mean, what's more attractive? Well, obviously it's going to be the dude with money. It's not necessarily she's this heartless, gold digger with these like dollar signs in her eyes, like, It's just like, well, what would you rather do, And the problem is that you've got dudes out there who've got both, right? So you've got dudes out there who are, she's not just going for the money, he's also decent looking, and he's got some riz, and he's in good shape, okay? And those are the guys who really are the triple threat, all right? There's not so many of those, though, because as I say, there are plenty of rich guys who are complete chumps as well. But again, I saw somebody forwarded me a page from a book, which I can't reference now because I don't have the details with me, but maybe I'll be able to drop it in the description or something. But there was a study, and basically what it showed was that all other things being equal, wealth and status did make up for a shortfall in facial attractiveness in men, as far as women were concerned. Okay, these women that were studied, they said that, they rated men in terms of physical attractiveness, and then wealth and status was put on top of it, and then the less attractive guys were deemed to be more attractive as a result of that status and wealth, okay? So this is why there's a lot of naivety around this whole black pill incel space of thinking it's only about looks, because it really fucking isn't, And quite frankly, anybody who just goes out of the house and, like, looks around them, and particularly if you go to some high-end venues, you're going to see this very starkly portrayed in front of you the whole time. So, yes, I do think money does make a difference. But, money without riz, it's going to be a hard ride. You're probably going to get some results, but you're not going to get results necessarily with the women that you want. And there's a good chance you're going to get fucked over, basically. And I have friends and clients who have been fucked over. They've got money, and in various ways, they've been screwed over by women, okay? So money, like with anything, money on its own is not great, but I think money certainly is a bigger part of the package than maybe I acknowledged previously. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Okay. Jerome says, it's not hard for me to approach women. I'm tall, good job, and go to the gym. I made the experience that almost every girl would have slept with me without condom just because they got horny during foreplay. Jerome says, I experienced it 28 times. My body count is less than 10. Not sure what you mean. Body count matters because of sexual diseases. If you have to pay a prostitute, they are better off. They have to check their health regularly. Yeah, true. I should be being very rich, sir, says the master. Ben Lakin, resource abundance is an archetypal masculine trait, provisioning potential. Yes, good to see you, Ben. Thanks for tuning in. I would agree. That's absolutely correct. There was this idea that so guys will seize onto the idea of beta bucks, alpha fucks. Alpha fucks, beta bucks, right? So that it's a well-known expression. Rollo Tomasi talks about it a lot. It's basically that the alpha, the quote-unquote alpha guy, is going to have sex with all these women for free, and because she's just got that genuine desire for him. Whereas the beta guy is going to be the one who's footing the bill, etc., etc. It's the archetypal sort of, okay, now she's 35, she wants to settle down and get married and have kids. She chooses the guy who's a little bit less exciting because she's kind of got to, right? She needs somebody with a stable job and blah, blah, blah. So he's sort of footing the bill, whereas the alpha was enjoying the fruits of her sexuality and youth for free, okay? Where that falls down, though, is that you get some alpha guys who've also got money. Or at least maybe they're not multi-millionaires, but they've got enough money to also provide her with some cool experiences, right? Okay, are we then saying that is beta behavior? No, I certainly don't believe it is, because if you go to Mayfair in London, or if you go to Miami, or if you go to any of these places, you've got dudes who are both wealthy and ripped and good looking and intelligent and successful. Okay, and that is the elite. Those are the women that they really want, right? It's so yes, of course, we've all heard stories, and we all continue to hear stories about, she'll have sex, super hot girl will have sex with the career criminal who hasn't got any money to his name, and he's sleeping on a mattress, and he's got tattoos on his face and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that stuff happens, but by and large, really, what generally is what they want is a guy who's ticking all of the boxes. Okay. And, you can sit there on the internet and about the fact of like, oh, well, it's beta to pay money, blah, blah, blah. But it really kind of isn't. Because actually, a lot of guys who've got money are very alpha, okay? I mean, a great archetype is Wolf of Wall Street, right? Look at Leo in that film. Exceptionally high testosterone dude, exceptionally alpha guy who makes a lot of money because... I mean, this is the irony. Because he's alpha, he makes a lot of money, right? And he gets the beautiful woman, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Look at people like the Tates, right? Why do they showcase wealth the whole time? People aren't saying that the Tates, oh, you guys are beta because you've got all this money and that's why you've had these women in your life. I mean, it's nonsense, right? It's absolute nonsense. But it's the kind of shit that gets talked about on the internet because a lot of people are dumb, or at least a lot of people aren't able to see nuance in any of this stuff. And with all of this stuff, like including with the gold digger example, there's a lot of nuance here. Okay, it's not just this black or white thing. Oh, she's a gold digger. Oh, she's a good girl. Oh, she's a virgin. Oh, well, I suppose virgin's black and white, but you know what I'm saying. Like a lot of these things, there are shades of grey in the equation.